The Galactic Council had classified humans as dangerously empathetic long before Evan made his choice. But classifications meant little to a cargo hauler drifting through the outer reaches, and even less when he found the dying cub in the wreckage of a Karvathi warship. The creature was small, no larger than a Terran house cat, but its obsidian scales and razor-sharp claws marked it unmistakably as Karvathi, the apex predators of the known galaxy, the species that had burned 17 worlds and enslaved countless others. The nightmare that made even the Council's enforcers hesitate. Evan knelt beside the wreckage, his suit sensors screaming warnings about the cub's venomous breath and potential aggression. The little thing wheezed, one wing bent at an unnatural angle, its triple-pupiled eyes glazed with pain and fear. "You're just a baby," Evan whispered, reaching out despite every survival instinct screaming at him to walk away. The cub tried to bite him. Its teeth barely scratched his glove. He named her Sareth, after an old Earth myth about monsters who learned to love. 20 cycles later, Ambassador Threlix of the Galactic Council stood in the observation deck of the Vindication, watching the human vessel approach with something approaching existential dread. Beside him, Admiral Corvin flexed his manipulator appendages nervously. "It's confirmed?" Corvin asked. "The Karvathi Emperor's own offspring." "Genetic scans are conclusive," Threlix replied, his vocal sacs deflating. "The cub we assumed died in the Battle of Naraka Station, survived, and somehow ended up with a human. Then we attack now. Before what?" Threlix turned his crystalline eyes toward the Admiral. "Before the human finishes teaching a Karvathi about mercy. Before the deadliest predator species in the galaxy learns that strength doesn't have to mean domination?" Corvin fell silent. On the view screen, the small cargo ship docked smoothly. Through the airlock walked Evan, older now, his hair touched with gray, and beside him, moving with liquid grace, came Sareth. She had grown, not to the massive size of a battle-cast Karvathi, but large enough. Her scales had darkened to pure midnight. Her wings could span the width of a transport bay, and her claws could punch through starship hulls. But she wore no armor, carried no weapons. And when she looked at the assembled council members with those intelligent, calculating eyes, there was no hunger for conquest. There was curiosity. "Gentle beings," Evan said calmly, as if he weren't standing in a room full of the galaxy's most powerful entities. "We're here about the treaty negotiations." "The Karvathi Empire doesn't negotiate," Threlix said carefully. "They conquer or they destroy." Sareth's head tilted slightly, a gesture she'd learned from Evan. When she spoke, her voice was a harmonic rumble that made the station's bulkheads vibrate. "I am Sareth, daughter of Emperor Carvax the Annihilator, and I am here to tell you that my father is wrong." The silence that followed could have swallowed stars. "For 20 cycles," Sareth continued, "I have lived with Evan. He found me dying and did not leave me. He healed me when his species had every reason to let me perish. He taught me language, mathematics, art, philosophy." Her wings rustled softly. "He taught me that strength is not about how many you can destroy, but about who you choose to protect." "Your father has declared you dead," Admiral Corvin said, finding his voice. "He burned the Naraka sector in your memory. Millions died." "I know." Sareth's voice carried an ocean of grief. "Which is why I must return, not to claim the throne. I renounce that blood-soaked inheritance, but to show my people that there is another way. That the human way, this strange, impossible empathy, is not weakness." Evan stepped forward. "The Council has been trying to stop the Karvathi through force for 3 centuries. Every fleet you send, they destroy. Every world you fortify, they burn." He paused. "Maybe it's time to try something different." "You want us to let you walk into the heart of the Empire," Threlix said slowly, "with their princess, raised by humans, preaching peace." "Yes. They'll kill you both." "Maybe," Evan agreed. "But maybe not. The Karvathi respect strength above all else. And what takes more strength? Conquering the weak or choosing mercy when you have the power to destroy? 3 months later, the Karvathi capital world of Nexarthor witnessed something unprecedented. Princess Sareth, presumed dead, returned, not at the head of an invasion force but in a small cargo ship, accompanied by a single human. Emperor Carvax could have executed them both instantly. The court certainly expected it. But when Sareth stood in the throne room, a human at her side showing no fear, and spoke of her years among the stars, something shifted. She challenged the ancient traditions, questioned the endless wars, and then, before the assembled court, she did something unthinkable. She knelt before the human who had saved her. "This being," Sareth declared, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast hall, "showed me mercy when he had every reason to hate my kind. He is stronger than any warrior here, not because he can kill, but because he chooses not to." The court erupted in outrage. Calls for execution rang from every corner. But Emperor Carvax raised a claw for silence. He stared at his daughter, then at the human who met his gaze without flinching. "You are either the bravest creature I have ever encountered," the Emperor rumbled, "or the most foolish." "Both, probably," Evan replied. The Emperor's laugh was like thunder. "My daughter lives because of you. Custom demands you be honored, but tradition demands you be destroyed for polluting royal blood with your soft philosophy." His eyes, so like his daughter's, gleamed. "What would you have me do, human?" "Choose," Evan said simply. "Between the empire you've built on fear, or the one you could build on something greater." The Emperor was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, the words changed the galaxy forever. "Perhaps. It is time for the Karvathi to learn a new kind of strength." The council would spend decades debating whether Evan's gambit was brilliant diplomacy or catastrophic luck. But they all agreed on one thing. The human hadn't just saved a dying cub. He'd planted a seed that would eventually crack the foundation of an empire built on conquest. And in the quiet moments, in a small dwelling on Earth, Evan would look up at the stars and know that somewhere out there, Sareth was teaching her people what he had taught her, that the strongest choice was always compassion,